In the last video, I used as inspiration a book entitled How to Do Nothing by Jenny Odell. Today I'm going to take a little more inspiration from that, especially because I've moved along further in the book. I'm standing out here in the midst of trees and woods because it's diverse. Doing nothing, in many ways, has to do with diversity, especially because we live in a culture that wants to specialize, that wants to narrow, that, in our apps and in all of our social media, we kind of silo ourselves with all of those other people who think a lot like us. So diversity becomes something that we don't want to deal with. We just want more likes, we want people who agree with us, and then everything's fine. But if we're out here in the woods, the Red River of the North is right back here. There's fallen trees, there's dead trees. Well, we're not quite into spring yet, but it'll be greening up soon. There possibly are wood ticks down here and some of these leaves that are blowing around. Diversity. I'm going to show you a picture of something and just kind of take a look at it for a bit, and I'll be back to you following that picture. That picture was of Thomas Jefferson's garden plot at Monticello. If you look at it, it has some interesting features to it in that there's open soil, there's greenery, there's shocks of corn, there's diversity in his garden. And Thomas Jefferson was a bit of a agronomist and scientist, and he liked to see how all things work together instead of just specializing like we do today and having one crop and raising it intently and maximizing what we can get per acre. Part of the attention economy, according to Jenny Odell, is we try to monetize and specialize and get things knocked down to a point where everything's about quickness, everything's about money, and you lose the context. To do nothing, according to the author, and I think rightly so, to do nothing is to see the context of everything, how we live in, if you want to say, behind an ecosystem. There's snow on the bank, the river's starting to run, the wind is blowing, it is springtime, and there's lots of changes. But if you take any part of that out, you miss the whole picture. Doing nothing often includes listening, watching, sensing what's going on around you. A part of my career as a pastor has been the fact that I could go out and meet a diverse group of people in a diverse setting. I've ridden on combines and tractors and been at workplaces and went on short road trips with people and got to know them. But over the years, that kind of changed at times, and again, becoming more specialized and getting into chaplaincy and kind of focusing on certain aspects of people's spiritual care. But lately, I've had the opportunity again to visit people in their workplaces, to have the opportunity just to get to know them, and more than just what do we stand for and what's our little piece of faith, so to speak. Because I think faith It's kind of like this river. This happens to be the Buffalo River now. It flows. It's in context. We need to be looking at context instead of just looking at who likes us and how do we take our own little piece of whatever it is and somehow promote it. Because actually, staying in a silo keeps you apart from the rest of the world. And I believe faith is an integrated part into life. It's not separate from life. It's not more special than the rest of life. It's how do we integrate it? How does it flow? What is its, if you want to say, ecosystem of faith that enhances all of life? I'm beginning to enjoy that again more and more because I get the opportunity to do nothing. Once again, thank you for watching and for listening.